So, Onslaught Light launched yesterday, and it's pretty fun. Onslaught is a really good activity that, for once, makes me actually try in PvP, which is very good. And the weapons they've given us to start out with are really interesting. Hopefully, if I can find the time, I'd expect a video on Stranger's Rifle in the latter half of this week, or Monday. For now though, I want to talk about Prismatic, which is a new subclass revealed in the finalshape preview yesterday. To describe it, have you ever perhaps wanted to run Shadow Dive with a grappling grenade, on Blade Barrage with invisibility, Devour, Radiant, Threat of Ascent, and Weighted Throwing Knife? Or perhaps Phoenix Dive, Weaver's Call, Wall of Radiance, Devour, Snap Melee, Friendly Grenades, and Icarus Dash? Or even running Consecration and Frenzy Blade for free melee charges, and Thunder Crash with, Touch of Thunder and Pulse Grenades? Well, now you can! Prismatic, seemingly, allows you to run any piece of any subclass set at one time, allowing for some stupid build crafting combos, and at the same time they're giving us exotic class items which will then allow us to use pieces of two exotics at once. The one that showed in the finalshape preview, for example, had the Starios perk and Ophidian Aspects handling boost. And whilst I think it is amazing that they've given us this, I do have some concerns which I will go over now. Firstly, there is class and subclass identity. This is something I've had a problem with since the 3.0s and do continue to have with the game. Originally, when we had subclass trees, you'd be able to see what super someone is using and be able to pick apart their entire kits without even opening a menu, giving every tree and subclass a distinct identity. When they introduced the 3.0s, that changed a lot. Whilst hunters have kept pretty core to their general theming and identity throughout the history of the game, Titans and Warlocks are a bit of a mess, as Warlocks got basically everything unique to them given to the other subclasses, and Titans just became the melee button or copying a build from the other classes, as what they got allowed them to overstep into the territory of other classes a bit too much. See Solar Titan or Arc Titan for the main examples of that. It's to a point where I feel the only subclasses with distinct class identity are the Darkness subclasses now. For example, if you were to look on Void, which is where I feel the problem is most apparent, where every build is basically the same on every class, and then compared it to Strand, where basically every class has a different playstyle, you'll notice a massive difference. And this problem I feel gets much worse by allowing each subclass to intermingle. So where going with the information we currently have, I see basically no point for any other subclass to exist in the game. Especially since Prismatic has the ability boost bar, otherwise known as Transcendence, where if you deal enough light and dark damage you'll get your abilities back and a mini super grenade. So even if I, for example, just ran Strand Hunter with Shadow Dive, as long as I dealt enough damage with a light weapon, there would be basically no reason for me to ever bother touching Strand Hunter ever. And that brings me to the next concern, which is balancing. How Bungie plans to balance people being able to run Radiant, Gear Falcons, Stylus Executioner, possibly Celestial Golden Gun, Repulsor Brace, Desperate Measures, Recluse, Mountaintop, Edge Transit, Threaded Spike, Woven Mail, Discord, Grapple Grenade, Thread of Ascent, and Widow's Silk, all at the same time, which would basically make you unkillable by just disabling all abilities and using insta-kills. I don't know how they plan to, even vaguely balance it. Genuinely. And I haven't even mentioned PvP yet, where you can have Titans running about with Frenzy Blade, Consecration for free charges of it, or Shield Bash Consecration, so you can either suppress or Consecration and without even swapping melee, then Bubble or Burning Maw, depending on whether you want to be the one casting the bubble or just killing it, Bastion for Overshield, Suppressor Grenade, Devour, Radiant, Echo of Vigilance for more overshields, and an Armamentarium combined with Alpha Lupi or One-Eyed Mask with Conditional and Igneous to make the game basically unplayable with how many outright bullshit combos you'd see in the Crucible. I don't even see how this would be allowed. Genuinely. It would be such an outright fuck you to the entire game's design. I'd question how one would even get through a single testing phase without bringing that question up. However, this may be a cope, but you know how in every other time they have shown off a subclass or new thing in a DLC, they've showed us at least a little bit of it in PvP. For example, if you go on YouTube and just type in the Stasis gameplay trailer and go to exactly a minute in, they'll show a hunter throwing a dust field and getting a double kill with Stasis. And for strands, you have to do a little bit more digging, which is why I feel it's a bit of a curb. If you go to the weapons and gear trailer for Lightfall, they'll then show that's Ragni's facade used on Wormhaven to snipe a Titan, which it does show Strand in PvP. So I have a bit of a game theory that because they haven't shown us PvP or even mentioned it anywhere in referral to Prismatic or Prism, it is very possible that it's not in PvP, which I very much obviously hope it isn't, because I feel once people get to thinking about certain combos, it'll get very broken and very unplayable very quickly. I also just think it'd be incredibly sad if after getting checkmate in the game and making PvP's environment so much better, we immediately went back into ability hell like we did with the 30th anniversary sandbox. With these concerns in mind, however, I believe this will, overall, push the game forward in ways we have yet to see or even think about. Bungie is not a dumb company when backed into the corner like they are, and I would hope that they know PvP will become unplayable if they let this go through, class identity is dead, and balancing is literally gone if they let certain things happen unchecked. So I would hope in the next 3 months we'll end up hearing more about Prismatic or Prism, whatever you want to call it. And I want to see what happens more than anything. There's just something that really intrigues me about opening up the sandbox this way that makes me think something is coming. And I have theories on what that something is, which I won't share here because the distraction and point of it too much. I think so long as they completely ditch even the idea of putting Prism in PvP, we'll probably end up fine in the end. And that's all I really have to say. Hopefully I can get a Stranger's Rifle video up for you guys later in the week, but I do have a Master Kingsfall to do, so very debatable if that'll even happen. However, I can still try, so like, comment, sub, very curious what everyone's thoughts are, and adios.
Time is running out!
I know. Ready?